Welcome to today's Emunah Minute. The Gemara Masechah Sukkah quotes a beautiful pasuk from the Navi Yeshaya. And the Navi, when speaking or describing the greatness of the Ribono Shel Olam, says, Ki ani Hashem ohev mishpat, sone gezel ba'ola. I am Hashem, I am God, ohev mishpat, I love justice, sone gezel ba'ola. Literally translated, I despise theft with the ola. Ola is an offering. So on the most basic level, what the pasuk is saying is two things. First of all, HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves mishpat. He loves justice. The Ribono Shel Olam is the essence of justice. Hatzur tamim pa'alo. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the complete rak. He is the Dayan ha'emes. He is the truthful judge. Everything about HaKadosh Baruch Hu is emes and mishpat. But that's not all the pasuk says. The pasuk also says, Sone gezel ba'ola. So on the most basic level, God despises theft. Where in the ola? In other words, let's say a person steals something, and they go ahead, I steal an animal, and I decide to offer up that animal to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the Navi says, God despises theft. Even if you're taking that which you stole, and you're going ahead and you're offering it up as a carbon, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I still don't want it. I still don't want it. And the Gemara gives a beautiful mashal. The Gemara gives a beautiful parable. The Gemara says, let me read it to you. Mashal melech basar v'dam, the Gemara says, let me give you a parable to a human king, an earthly king. Sheya over abeis hameches. So you can imagine the scene. The king is traveling with his entourage and he comes to a toll plaza, to a toll booth. What happens? He turns to his servant, Amar la'avadav, tinu meches lamochsim. So ultimately the king says to his servant, pay the toll. So the servant turns to the king, we should pay the toll. Amar lo, v'halo kalameches kulo shelchahu. But the servant says to the king, all the collected taxes, all the collected tolls go to you. So why do you have to go ahead and pay the toll? You're the king. All the money comes to you anyway. I think you could pretty much roll through this toll without paying it. Listen to what the king responds. Amar lahem, mimeni yelamdu kol ovrei drachim, v'lo yavrichu atzma min hameches. The king says, I have to set an example. People should see that even the king pays the toll. And if the king who owns the tolls, the king who receives the revenue from the tolls, the king who controls the entire kingdom, even the king pays the tolls, alachas kama v'kama, all the more so that we must pay the tolls as well. So the Gemara finishes off the drasha, the explanation of the verse, by saying, even though God owns everything, and therefore, again, one could have made the argument that if I go ahead and I steal a cow from Ruvain, I steal a sheep from Ruvain, and I offer it up as a carbon, as an offering, it's all going to the same place. God owns it all. God owned it when it was Ruvain's possession. God owns it now when I'm offering up. It's all going to the same place. He owns everything. Anyway, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Ani Hashem sone gezel ba'ola. Even though I own everything anyway, I want to show you that even I despise theft. Even the one who owns everything despises theft as well. Even though the carbon belonged to me, no matter who was the technical owner of it, I still despise theft. And I was very taken by this mashal, very taken by this parable. Because what the king is really saying in this parable is something so profound, that at the end of the day, I'm the king, I make the rules. And the rules are that when you go through the toll, you have to pay the toll. But even more powerful than the articulation of the rule, even more powerful than the actual piece of legislation that says you have to pay the toll when you go down the road, is modeling the right behavior. The king says, if I don't model the right behavior, how can I expect my subjects, how can I expect my constituents to do the right thing? You see, the king in the parable understood that in life, it matters very little what you say. It matters much more what you do. And this is an incredibly profound lesson on a variety of levels. Certainly from a chinuch, from the way we raise our children. I think most of us would agree that we often remember very little of what our parents said, but we remember a lot of what our parents did. Because actions always speak louder than words. We have a beautiful mission and mandate to be an or lagoyim, to be a light unto the nations, to be the ambassadors of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's not just enough to espouse correct ideology. It's not just enough to espouse morality or ethics. We have to model them. We have to model them. So that if you want to be a light unto the nations, it's not about a flowery speech. It's not about fiery rhetoric. It's about living the right kind of life. It's about through my lifestyle, through my decisions, through the things that I do, that my set of values, my tenets and ideals become manifest to the way that I live. And lastly, I think we also set an example in a different way. We set an example for ourselves. When we do something good, whatever that good is, a person learns Torah, a person davens with kavanah, a person does an act of chesed, a person gives tzedakah, whatever the good thing is, a person has to take a step back and just realize you've just modeled the right behavior for the most critical person in your life. And the most critical person in your life is you. Sometimes we don't take enough time to give ourselves a shkoyach, to give ourselves a pat on the back for the good things we do. When I accomplish something good, I have to take a step back and say, wow, I just modeled for myself what I'm truly capable of doing. I just modeled for myself that I am capable of resisting temptation. I just modeled for myself that I can be a moral and ethical person. I just modeled for myself I can daven with kavanah. I can be a kind individual, because all too often in life, we think that certain things are beyond us. We think that certain spiritual accomplishments, those are the purview of the spiritual elite, the Torah scholars, the rabbis, anyone else, but not me. And when we do something good, it's so important to recognize that we've just modeled for ourselves what we are truly capable of. HaKadosh Baruch Hu models for us the expectations. He says it. We have a Torah that is filled with mitzvahs, filled with commandments, but more importantly, God models for us. He behaves in a way and He expects us to emulate. We are to be a light unto the nations, and therefore, it's not enough just to talk the talk, but we have to go ahead and model the right behaviors. And for ourselves, every time we do something good, recognize you've just modeled for yourself your true ability, your true potential. Wishing everyone a wonderful day.